Well, it is all about Hurricane Bill tonight and the track it is taking right now. And Jim is live in Bermuda.
Hey guys, yeah, we're on the South Shore today, and even though this is still well away from any landmass, even this 20-square-mile island, we are seeing the impacts. The waves are starting to roll in, and with them, of course, they're getting higher and higher along the beaches and taking some of the sand with it. What will be the impacts for Bermuda, and how is this tiny but beautiful island getting ready? We'll have a live update for you tonight on Cantore and Steele.
It's a waiting game that changes by the minute, and this hurricane will bring dangers as it heads up the East Coast. Hi everyone, good evening and welcome in on this Thursday night. Jim co-anchoring from Bermuda, where residents there keenly watching this powerful hurricane. So good evening to you, Jim. Boy, even just in the last few hours, watching the water behind you, the sound of it and its ferocity really have changed.
One good thing about that may be one good thing about this piece of equipment we're using, Alexandra, is the fact that you can hear the water. I'll even turn around a little bit, and I mean, it is amazing. I mean, the waves are rolling in. We're near high tide now, and obviously they're a little bit closer to me. But what I think it's safe to say they're a little bit different in character. In other words, they were coming as a nice rolling swell earlier and just kind of run up the beach. Now they're coming in and crashing over on the beach as opposed to running up it. So we have a little different type of wave structure. Maybe we'll get Lion's input on that in just a little bit. But either way, the folks here on Bermuda take these things very, very seriously. They know it's not going to be a direct hit. They know it's going far enough to the west. Most of them have not boarded up, and most of them are obviously going to be ready to hunker down from tomorrow at noon, probably right through Saturday at noon, which is going to be the time period that we're going to have to deal with this thing. But either way, if you own a resort, like down and through here, you're doing some preparations. Let me show you some pictures here, folks, where people are out pretty much doing what you would do to a beachfront resort. You pick up the chairs, you pick up the cabanas, the tables, you start boarding up the bar and the bistro, which is what we had happen here, which is where I'm standing in front of tonight. And what's interesting, Alex, is they not only put boards up, in the main, if you will, area where they serve people, but they also put a metal shutter up because they know it's not only going to be the wind, you're also going to get water that's going to run all the way up to the door of that bistro. And it's almost like an in-ground bunker. So it's all concrete around that. So they're going to have it. They're going to have it when all is said and done. Let me show you a couple of the pictures here that I took today when I got here. And a lot of them, again, down in this area. You can see them boarding up. You can see the rock that the waves are crashing on very nearby. We can't see it now because it's dark. But you know what? Tomorrow we're going to have a shot where we're going to look right down at that rock. I can't imagine with higher water how high some of that spray is going to get. And there's our good buddy Jim, who's operating what we call the BGAN system. That's the system that we're using. So instead of one of those big satellite trucks with the big dishes, we're using a computer tonight, Alexandra. So these live shots, compliments of the BGAN system, and Big Jim, yours truly there. He's one of our crew of three out here in the field. Back to you.
All right, well, we like our two Big Jim, no question about that. Well, Jim, one interesting thing I want you to talk about is the difference as this hurricane pushes in, the difference the waves and the difference it does to a place like an island like Bermuda, so much different than, say, coming into the Gulf of Mexico, right?
Absolutely. If you're being chased into a street and you go up an alleyway and all of a sudden you come to a dead end, you can't get out, right? Same thing for the Gulf of Mexico. Water comes in, chases it in, can't get out. So it's going to have to pile up or go through the wall, which in some cases it does. It goes through people's buildings as it rises up. Here, you can stand out in the middle of a field and everyone's going to run right around you. And that's what happens here. You've got Bermuda, 20 square miles, and you've got this big hurricane and all the water's coming in with it, and it's going to go right around the island. So you don't get as much of a surge component. But because of the way this storm is moving and the size of it, you've built up a huge, huge wave field, and that's what's coming rolling at us. So this area is obviously susceptible to wave action. We've already seen that kick in. And it looks like right now, Alex, the closest point that will be is probably about 40 hours away right now. So we're not even in the middle of this thing yet. Right. We expect some of the bands to bring heavy rain tomorrow, along with some of the tropical storm force gusts, probably afternoon, possibly as late as 5 o'clock. And you know what? That's what we're counting on here, too, from the Premier. He says, look, we're closing down the airport There'll be planes that'll be coming in, most of them to bring passengers out. A lot of those flights have already been taken. Some people that tried to get out are going to have to ride out the storm. Locals are ready, but if you're a visitor, I'd say right now it's about 75% that are looking to get out of the island, and are going to have a hard time doing so because of the fact that the flights have pretty much filled up. Back to you.
And also, Jim, in addition to the waves, although this hurricane won't make a direct hit, tornadoes will be a concern through the weekend, right?
You know what? Yes, because when I was here in Florence in 07, even though, again, it wasn't a big hurricane, we did get, as the bands came ashore, tornadoes. And the worst damage that we saw was actually from a tornado and not the hurricane itself. So we will look for that type of characteristic tomorrow. Alexandra, this is very hilly. It's not a flat island with just one little bump. It goes up and down. You know, once you get up in that high level, let's say up around 1,000 feet or so, you're going to be able to deal with some of those higher winds and possibly even a tornado. Back to you.
All right, great work, Jim. Can't wait to see it tomorrow as well in the light of day to see what the beautiful island looks like. Thank you so much. So stay with us tonight. A lot